Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. I'm subject. This is Torgo. YouTube is not
Hey,
showing us live, even though it just said we were.
oh,
Oh wait, there it goes. Okay, we're
I
good.
think we are. Okay.
We are good. So last night, Austin and I did our best and worst of the year. Tonight we're doing something a little different. A first on the series on the channel. We're ranking the Friday the 13th movies. Uh, you are new to the series overall, and your first
hmm
one was Jason X. Going
Yeah,
into
that's right.
Jason X, I'm just curious. Did you have any expectations of this franchise?
You based on Jason X, like it's the watching the movies
When you
after
went
that
into
one.
Jason X, since that was your first one, did you have any expectations for that movie or the franchise?
Well, I knew that this was like one of the big slasher, like big horror movie franchises, and it was just about a crazy guy killing teenagers with a machete. Which is, you think of the iconography of the series and you think the machete, but it doesn't pop up all that much in the movies. But
He's
yeah.
very handy, that Jason. Just whatever's
Yeah,
on hand
he uses a variety of weapons. That guy.
makes it fun.
Yeah.
So how did you feel coming out of your first Friday the 13th?
Well, so I let me just say I watched Jason X because YouTube channel we're both fans of Geekvolution. They were doing a for their Patreon patrons. They were doing like commentaries on bad movies, and one of them was Jason X. So in that context, I was just kind of watching it as like we were riffing on it and like kind of making fun of it. Uh, but no, what was your question?
Like, how did you feel after watching Jason X as your first Friday?
I thought it was not a great movie, but I had a good time watching it. Um, just because it's a very silly movie, and I think now I have more the understanding, just like from looking behind the scenes and watching it again, that it's kind of on purpose. That movie has got like a very self-aware, campy tone to it. Still not very good, but I think I have a better understanding of it more.
I mean, you're just wrong. That movie's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's get into the rankings. We're just going to go from worst to best. There are 12 films in the franchise, so we'll talk a little bit about each one because I don't want to, bypass any of them because I do like all of them to some degree, um, except for maybe my number 12. But we'll see.
Mhm.
So, what is your number 12?
So I have a feeling we have the same number 12. Mine is Jason Goes to Hell.
That is also my.
Uh, okay, this movie, I
It's a
admire it.
mistake. Like,
It's kind of a mistake. I will say though, I admire it slightly for trying to do something different. The problem is that it's too different. It's not a Friday the 13th movie. Like it barely resembles that. Jason's not in the movie. I mean he is, but he's like a soul and he's like jumping between bodies and I don't know, like that whole supernatural thing is not the appeal of Friday the 13th for me. I don't need like a whole lore about Jason and Voorhees family and I don't need like a slug parasite Jason that you're just overcomplicating things.
yeah, there are elements that I like. I really like the lead in this, Steven. Creighton Duke might be one of the best characters in the entire franchise because he's so
Mhm.
like weird. Um, the body horror is really cool. Like you get those scenes of after Jason leaves the body, it just starts to like decompose while they're still alive. It's
Mhm.
oh, um, but yeah, the lore is overly complicated. It doesn't add up with the rest of the franchise. Not that this is a super lore heavy franchise. Um, and yeah, Slug Jason going up his dead sister's vagina.
Yeah, that's something that happens in this franchise.
Also, can I just say the biggest fuck you in the world? This piece of shit movie has this badass poster.
Yeah. And there's Parasite Jason.
This metal mask is not in the movie, by the way.
No, yeah. But you would get a metal mask in the next movie.
He would. So let me ask you this, because this is something I think I am going to ask you on each film as well. How do you feel about, for the brief time he's in this movie, the Jason design?
Um, I don't remember. He kind of looks like a little bit like how he did in part 7, right? Where he's got like clothes ripped off and falling off a little bit. Um,
Yeah, this is the one where like the mask is like melting into his skin.
oh, yeah. Um, I'm not a
This
fan of
one.
it.
Not that you can see
Yeah,
that real well, but
not real well, but like, yeah, I do remember it's the one where like the mask is like part of the face mold. I think it looks kind of dumb.
oh,
I
interesting.
don't
See,
know.
it's in one. It's probably my third favorite design in the
It also
franchise.
looks really uncomfortable. Like I don't know, Kane Hodder probably
He
hated
talks
being in
about
that.
like it was really hard to get in on and off.
hmm No, it looks, and I think some of the other practical effects aren't great. Um, mainly the one I'm thinking of is the Muppet hands at the end that pull him into hell. Those look really bad.
And of course, I do have to give credit. Not to, I don't want to say to this movie because I know this wasn't the director's idea, but this has one of the greatest like post credit scenes ever. I don't know if you'd call it a post
Mhm.
credit scene, but where like Jason's mask is just laying on that beach, and out of nowhere, Freddy's hand, or not on the beach, where he was pulled down, then Freddy's
Yeah.
hand like pulls it out. That's a great like cliffhanger.
Well, that was one of the things I was thinking of is the best part about that movie is that it teases Freddy versus Jason, which is a better movie.
Yeah. Then it would take 10 years to come out, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least it was, they wanted it to happen for that long.
Oh, that goes back farther than that.
Oh
At
yeah.
least as far as from what I remember, it goes back to at least part 7.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah,
But that
but
was when Paramount owned him still. But yeah, anything
Jason,
else you want to add about Jason Goes to Dog Shit?
not much. It's a dog shit movie. Yeah, that's really about all I have to say about it. It's not nothing I'm ever gonna rewatch if I ever do another watch through this series.
Oh, I'm gonna specifically make you come on to review this.
Oh God, that'll be the last time I watch it.
Yeah, there you go. Then we have to do the commentary.
Do we have to?
uh, no, probably. Not. All right, my number 11, and now this is gonna be interesting because I don't know if we will ever agree again. But my number
Okay.
11 is part 3.
Okay. Interesting.
Which is
Mine is Jason Takes Manhattan.
interesting. I think part 3. The problem is that it's just part 2, but not as good as part 2. Obviously, you get the Jason uh, get his mask the first time. I like Shelly a lot, the guy that he kills for the mask, but all the other characters are just one dimensional. Final
Yeah.
Girl sucks. I don't like that
Yeah.
whole like
All the
Jason.
characters in that movie suck.
I don't like the whole like Jason may have raped this girl at some point in the past plot.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that too. What I mainly remember about part 3 is all of the forced like 3D shots. Like
Those are the best part of that movie.
yeah, you got the yo-yo and you got the blunt coming at the camera.
And and some of the finest acting in cinema. When the one woman finds all the bodies and they're like, everyone's
Yeah.
dead. Oh my
Shelly's
god.
dead.
She
Yeah,
just runs through the
that part's
house.
super funny. But no, I agree with I think I agree mostly with what you said. Like it's very routine Friday the 13th. It's kind of just like you said the second movie but a little bit worse.
Yep.
Um
Why is yours wrongly Jason Takes Manhattan?
oh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you got to admit this is a bad movie. I don't want to trash it too much cuz I think it has its moments. The boombox scene, it's great. Some of the shots when they're actually like shooting in New York City look really good. Um, but most of it is just Jason and these dull characters just on a boat, and it's the most boring thing ever. Fuck this movie.
Yeah, I can understand that. I know a lot of people were pissed because it's not actually in New York for most of it.
I'd say once they get to New York, it does pick up, because they try to do a lot of character development on the boat, and it's just you just don't care about any of the characters.
I also love that
Uh,
that retroactively tries to add weird lore where she can like see young Jason.
oh yeah, yeah.
No idea
That's
what's up with that.
I also I was gonna say the third act is really good just because I like the chase scene, but I don't like the toxic waste like washes away and then it's just
Amazing.
baby Jason again.
That's amazing. This movie wants you to believe that every night at midnight, toxic sludge runs through New York City sewer system. That is
Yeah, I
amazing.
don't. I mean, I don't know. It's New York City. It's pretty believable there.
No,
Um,
also the Jason, like when you take the mask off Jason's face, that he sucks in that movie.
the face sucks, and also I just don't like washing it away, and then it's like baby Jason. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, none of those movies know how to end. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that movie has a promising beginning too, because you got that opening credit scene that's like a bunch of shots in New York, and then like it's barely in New York for most of the movie.
You know why, right?
Oh, they couldn't afford to go there.
Yeah, they had their a script that like sent him to Madison Square Garden, the Statue of Liberty, all this grand
Yeah,
shit, and then
they
they
should have.
realized, oh,
They should
we're a
have got the
slasher
funds for
movie.
that.
We
I
can't
mean,
afford any of that.
yeah, but Friday the 13th was huge. I don't know.
But the thing
That,
is, you got to remember that it's huge because they kept the budget small.
that's
So
true.
no, any amount of money they made, instant profit. And this was on the later half of the franchise when Paramount was starting to become unhappy with its returns. It was still
Yeah, fair
making money, just
enough.
not as much as the Paramount wanted.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see Jason climb the Statue of Liberty or something
Right.
like that.
Uh, Slightly related topic. Are you excited to see Ghostface take Manhattan?
Oh my god. I've only seen the first Scream, but yes, I am excited.
I couldn't believe when they announced that that was the premise of Scream 6.
Yeah, and like I said before, he does. Ghostface needs to punch someone's head off in a boxing scene.
That's the best. That's the best scene in. That's one of the best scenes in part 8.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's one of the that's one of the moments that this movie has. Like for the most part, it's super bad for me, but like there's a few scenes where I'm like, that was a good scene.
All right, good sir. What is your number 10?
All right, this is where we start to get a little controversial. Uh, my yeah, this is probably this might be the hottest take on my list. My number 10 is the original Friday the 13th. Um,
So I guess I was wrong because that is also my number 10.
really? Okay.
I think the original Friday the 13th is a very important film. I also
hmm
think that it's a excellent short film with about 60 minutes of ad footage on there.
Yeah, you just have a bunch of padding for the first like hour of it, and then the last 20-30 minutes would make a good short film.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's actually a hot take because I would say that most people, unless you're either A, a purist, or B, like Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham, would say that it gets better when the sequels start to focus on Jason.
Okay. It just feels weird like the very first one is like one of my least favorites of the series.
Although I'm sure there's a couple of movies that we've put above it that will be hot takes, so we'll see.
No, yeah,
But
we're
yeah,
gonna get into
great,
the hot takes.
great kills. Obviously, they got Tom Savini. I love
Mhm.
the arrow kill, and then everything with Mrs. Voorhees is awesome. But the movie's mystery is not solvable unless you've
Mhm.
already seen it. Um,
That's one of the main points I had was that I think some of the POV shots, like that way of filming it, is kind of interesting as an idea. But then again, it also takes away any mystery that it attempts to have. So, like, they're trying to make a mystery film, but there's no mystery. Um, there's no point to it.
Definitely one of
Um,
those that I have to be in the mood for. Um,
mhm.
yeah,
I think if you're binging the whole series, you got to watch it. But either than that, you can just skip to whatever sequel.
yeah. I always say like these movies don't binge well. It's watch whichever one you want.
Yeah, I mean, like continuity wise, these movies are pretty loose.
The first four have a decent continuity to them. Here, a few things here and there, but then after that, it's just they're all standalone.
They just kind of do whatever they want after.
All right, so my number 9. This is my first controversial thing. Is Friday the 13th Part 5?
Okay, mine is part three. We already talked about that.
Ooh, ooh. This is where I say that you got a hot take. Part 3 is not better than Part 1.
I think some of the acting in part three is like really funny. So that's on an entertainment level. It's like slightly above one for me.
That's completely fair. I'm putting this over. I'm putting this where it is for the characters myself. I think there's a lot of memorable dialogue and characters in this movie. Probably some of the most
Mhm.
memorable in the franchise. Uh, you got the those damn enchiladas. You got the like weird redneck mom and son.
Yeah.
This movie's like really horny.
Oh God, yeah.
It's got some awesome kills like the belt
it's
kill.
it's maybe the trashiest one out of the
Well,
whole
they
series.
got like a trash director.
Yeah, like it wasn't he like a softcore porn director?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
this one
that's
might have
crazy.
the most nudity out.
Yeah, and then like the next one probably has the least nudity.
It has no nudity.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, no, I think five is a little bit underrated. Don't have that on my list yet, but I agree with a lot of what you said. I with the characters, that's something that's pretty unique about this one compared to the other ones. Not a lot of the Friday movies have great characters because you're not there for the characters, you're there for the kills.
I think the
But
only two things holding this one back is there that. So this is the second of three Tommy Jarvises, and
mhm.
this one is the worst one. He's just kind of there,
Yeah, I'd say
and the fact that this is
mhm.
another movie that has a twist at the end you couldn't have possibly predicted.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, because it's
It's
not set
insane.
up enough.
Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about that pushes this up. But first, I I'm not. I just want to clarify. I am not saying that it's impossible to guess that it's a fake Jason because it's clearly is because his mask is different. There is
Mhm.
no way on a first view you could guess who it is.
No,
It's a background character.
yeah, and there's like I think there's like one other hint. There's like that part where he says something that's kind of suspicious later in the movie, but there aren't a whole lot of hints that you can
This has
predict
one
to
of
it.
the greatest setups for a murder for a movie ever, where this just
The
like idiot
chocolate
with a
bar kid.
chocolate bar annoys the fuck out of someone until he hits him in the back of the head with an axe.
Yeah,
It's
no,
amazing.
it's pretty funny. Um, no, and that's why I kind of enjoy part five. It's got some memorable outside of like Tommy Jarvis. It's got some memorable, likable characters, which is pretty unique for the franchise. So
And I do
that's what
wonder if
puts
this one's
put.
kind of this one is. I wonder if this one will get a reevaluation.
I wonder because I feel like a lot of the reason people don't like it is because Jason's not in it. And I did bitch about Jason not being in Jason Goes to Hell, but I
That's
think
a different case. Like
that's a different case. This is
that's
at
like
least
Jason's
like
in it, but we're not going to show you Jason. He's going to be.
this is at least a slasher movie still, instead of a weird like possession film.
And it's got, like I said, it's got some awesome kills, like the hedge clippers. That shit is like oof. And then the
Yeah.
belt where he just like twists it against the tree.
Oh yeah.
It's brutal. All
Yeah.
right,
No,
so that was our number.
that's number 9.
What is your number 8?
Number 8, I have Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So this was your first time watching this one. Do you
Yeah,
think
I
it's kind of the quintessential Friday movie?
yeah, one of the main points I have is that I like how this movie's structured as a remake because you kind of get every era of Jason in this movie. It starts out with the ending of the first movie, which is Pamela getting decapitated, and then you have a sequence that's very much part two with Baghead Jason, and then it jumps on time again, and you get Hockey Mask Jason. So it kind of pays tribute to all that. Um, yeah.
Some all right kills. How did you feel about this Jason? Smarter than the old Jason?
Yeah, I didn't actually pick up on that too much.
Well, because
I
he's
guess
got
he's
like
not he's not as dumb. Yeah.
that whole booby trap system set up in the camp, and like he
Hmm.
uses the mines to get around, and he can use a bow and arrow, and he can
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm fine with it because he's still very much the killing machine that Jason always has been. It just we made him a little bit more smart and like I don't know. I think that adds a little bit more charm to it.
And every time
Um,
we review this or talk about this movie, just for our dear buddy Connor Nielsen, we have to mention that this has one of the greatest sex scenes of all time.
oh my god. Yeah, with lines like "your tits are stupendous." Yeah,
I
no.
love just how much of a dick that guy is. Like he's not a human being. He is just there to be
I
able to.
was I was I was rooting for that guy to die the whole time. I
If I
hated
have
that
one
guy.
complaint with that movie, as just a Friday movie, he gets the lamest death. Like, he just gets
Yeah,
impaled on that truck.
yeah. Well, yeah. It is kind of cool that like it just drives off with him on it.
I saw that movie in theaters. It was one of the last movies that I couldn't see by myself that was rated R. So
Mhm.
my poor grandma got to go see that with me.
Oh no.
That was awkward.
Yeah, that was probably awkward in a lot of scenes.
So my number 8 that we've already talked about it, but it is Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah,
A lot of that
you're
is
wrong.
nostalgia. It was the second Jason movie I ever saw. The first one I ever owned. I had a VHS copy. It's got some cool stuff.
Some cool stuff, and the rest of it sucks.
What is your number 7?
My number 7 is part two.
Interesting.
We and I think we already talked about it. But or
We
did we
were,
talk about?
all we
Did we
said
talk
was
about?
just that 3 was a worse version of 2.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, yeah. For some reason, I thought you already mentioned it. But yeah. It's just kind of average. It's a Friday the 13th movie. It's like it's kind of it's. Oh, really?
I think 2 is the. Oh, so I split the Friday the 13th franchise into 2 parts. 1 through 4 are the original human Jason parts.
Hmm.
One, notwithstanding the fact that Pamela's the killer, and then five is kind of its own thing in the middle, and then 6 through 10 are zombie Jason. I think
Yeah.
this is the second best sequel of those first four.
Okay. I
And
mean,
I
yeah.
think Jenny is one of the best final girls, not just in Friday the 13th, but in slashers.
I mean, to be honest, maybe it's because I haven't rewatched it in a while, but or like I've only seen it once, but I'm struggling to remember a lot of the character, like who the characters are
She's
in this movie.
she's the redhead that puts on Jason's mom's
I
sweater.
remember, yeah, I remember the ending where it's like she's doing the mom's voice,
But
but
I like that we give her like this skill. You know, she's a psychiatrist or like studying to be one, and like it's not just this is a character trait so that this person appears to be real. No, this is a character trait we've given her that she is going to use in this movie to survive.
yeah, and then like she never comes back.
Well, that's all of these.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very whatever on this movie. That's why it's kind of like in the middle for, or like close to the middle for my ranking.
So I forgot to ask for the last one. The remake in this one, how do you feel about the Jason designs?
Um, I'm not. I prefer the hockey mask over the bag head. For the previous one, I think they had a pretty good design. They kind of get everything right from like the like bag head and then hockey mask eras. So,
My number seven, we've already talked about it, is the remake. Like I said, kind of the quintessential Friday film. If you
mhm.
want something a little more modern that encompasses, like I said, the first half of the franchise, um, this is the movie. Um, it's probably technically better than. It's probably no. I'd say I agree with it. It's better than one and three, but not as good as two.
Mhm.
Great brutal kills. That fire pit kill with the sleeping bag is brutal.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Second best
Something.
remake that Platinum Dunes made.
Mhm.
Then they immediately followed this up with that god awful Nightmare
We don't talk about that.
remake.
um, Something I forgot to mention about the remake is the big thing that holds it back for me is kind of just like it feels like a generic 2000s horror movie in that there are a lot of jump scares and it's just edited really badly.
That's fair.
So, but other than that, it's solid.
Your number seven was part two, right?
Yeah, I think so. So we're on 6 now.
What is your number six?
My number 6 is part 7, The New Blood.
Ooh, that's going to be one we hugely differ on.
Yeah, so when I watched this, I remember enjoying it. I think the third act is great. I like the house blowing up. That looks awesome. And just like Jason's whole design, I really like This probably has one of the better Jason designs. In
I
part
agree.
7, yeah, it looks really good. And like discount Carrie, she's okay. Uh, to be honest, I'm struggling to remember most of what else happens in this movie. That's why it's a little bit lower.
What I need to remember is they fight and she beats the fuck out of him. Also, notable
Okay.
mention that Kane Hodder's first Friday movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's important that way.
Mine is Freddy versus Jason.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
this was obviously a huge deal. We had never seen slasher, monsters crossover, and we immediately killed it after this movie came out. But we at least got this movie. All the human characters suck, but I don't care because I'm there to see Freddy and Jason fight, and it
Yep.
more than delivers on that. My
Yeah.
only
No.
complaint with this movie, other than the characters, is just I don't think the new Jason is quite as good as Kane Hodder, and there's no reason they couldn't have just kept Kane Hodder.
Yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't bring him back. I don't know. He's he was kind of the Jason actor. He played him the longest.
I saw this movie in theaters. I was in fifth grade, and it blew me away. I don't care what anyone says. I will always cherish this movie, and I'm so happy it exists. And it has problems, but when you're watching it, you don't care.
No, yeah, I
Also,
love Freddy
Robert
versus
Englund's final
Jason.
performance.
Yeah, no, Robert Englund is final performance, and he's so good. I also love Freddy versus Jason. You're right. The characters are they suck, but you're there for Freddy and Jason, and that's what they get right. And they fight multiple times throughout the movie, and it gets better and better each time. The action's really good. It's just like it's an entertaining movie, and like they accomplished exactly what they set out to accomplish with it.
Yeah, and all of the fights are great. I think, and
Hmm.
they're smart in giving you, you get the dream world fight, and then you get the real world fight. Um,
Yeah.
if I had one complaint, I guess, with the fight outside of Kane, it's they do what all versus movies do, where they kind of went bad at the end. They both survived, so there really wasn't a winner.
Yeah.
Jason
Yeah,
won though.
well, I was gonna say it's kind of like a Kong versus a Godzilla thing where neither of them die, but there is a clear victor, and that's Jason.
All right, what is your number five?
Number five, funnily enough, is part five of the new beginning, which we already talked about. But I echo a lot of what you said. Characters are great. I like the enchilada guy. I like the rednecks. Um, Tommy Jarvis himself, he's okay in the movie, but like everything else, it's pretty entertaining. Pretty good movie.
And also because I keep forgetting, how do you feel about Jason's design in Freddy vs. Jason?
I think he looks pretty good.
That's more of the like tall, mopey Jason, but it
Yeah,
works.
I mean the way he moves, like we talked about, it's not Kane Hodder, but like design wise, I think they get it right enough.
Yeah. Mine is part two. We've already talked
Okay.
about it. I think this is the second best of that original run. I think it has a great final girl. The kills are okay. This is still in the era where they're bound by human logic, more or less. He's not a zombie yet.
Hmm.
Um, but I think this takes everything that the first movie did and does it better, like much better. And I love Jenny.
Fair enough.
Right, what is your number four?
All right, number four. I think this might surprise you for how high it is. Jason X. It's my number
I'm
four.
surprised. Now that you mentioned, I am surprised it wasn't lower. I love Jason
Yeah,
X. It was my first Friday film.
it was my first Friday film too, and it's grown on me. Like as we talked about before. I mean, I still don't think it's a great movie, but like I just kind of like dismissed it a little bit when I first watched it. I kind of get the more campy tone now. Rewatching it and I just appreciate it a little bit more. The kills are really good. It's got the cryo freeze kill where he
Best kill in
smashes
the whole
the
franchise.
yeah, it's so good. Yeah, and I mean it's Jason in space. What more could you want?
Yeah. Well, and to be fair to you on your initial reaction, I saw this at the perfect age, which was 13.
Yeah,
I don't know how effective this is on a first watch if you're older.
right.
You still got Kane. He does an amazing job. You got some cool kills. I think the characters are somewhat memorable, at least some of them. Uh, like the android when she
You
goes
get
like
the
full
android.
BDSM.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some of that stuff's a little bit cringe, but like I will say most of the characters are, even if it is cringeworthy, they are more memorable than certain other entries in the
Oh, I
franchise.
cringe every time you get the like Professor Sex scene.
Oh my god, yeah. Just so weird. Uh,
So strange. My number 4 is Part 4.
Lining up well.
I think this has. We've said it before, but I think this has some of the best characters in the. Is one of the other films that I think has some of the best characters. Um, uh, what is that actor's name for Back to the
Crispin Glover.
Future? Yes, Crispin Glover. Am I a dead fuck? Hey Ted, where the hell's the corkscrew?
Corkscrew, machete to the face.
Um, Corey Feldman as Tommy Jarvis is great.
Mhm.
The way Jason dies is brutal. The effects are back up to the par of the first one because we got Tom Savini back. Great Jason design. Great
Yep.
kills, like that one where he like lifts the guy up with the torpedo gun in the nuts and then shoots it. Oh, that makes me wince every time.
Oh god. I also love him crashing through the door. That's an iconic shot.
Yeah, so many windows broken.
Yep. Yeah, like lots of people and objects flying out of windows.
I love the completely just random one of the dog jumping through the window and then getting out of the movie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, so part 4 is my number 3. So, what I echo a lot of what you said, although I think that if it weren't for Tom Savini, Corey Feldman, and like maybe Crispin Glover being weird, um, this movie would be a little bit lower for me just because like everything else is so dull.
So what you're saying is, if you take the best things out of a movie, it's a worse movie.
Well, yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, yeah, fair enough, but like I don't know. Those are the other. They really hold up this movie. Those
Yeah.
things.
My part three, or my number three, we've already talked about it. Is Jason X. I adore this movie, but
Jason
as I've gotten
X.
older, there's two more that I think are better than it in the franchise. Get to that. What is your number two?
So my number 2 is Freddy versus Jason.
Not a bad
Yeah,
spot.
I think this was a no-brainer for being my number 2 because it was there was one other film and this that I was like, oh no, like this is a really entertaining film and like whereas the other movies kind of had to grow on me a little bit. I had to like watch again or like think about more. Like no, I did actually kind of like that. This movie and my number 1, I immediately was like, oh no, like I'm on board with this.
So my number two is going to surprise you because I struggled with it, but my number
Okay.
two is part six.
Wow.
If I was doing
Interesting.
quality wise, part six is one.
Hmm.
I think part six is a masterpiece. I think it has the best final guy in this case in the franchise. This version of Tommy Jarvis is the Tommy Jarvis that everyone
What's the
thinks of.
best one? Yeah.
This is the Jason that everyone thinks of. It's got a killer soundtrack, great Jason design, great kills, a little comedy in there, which helps. Um,
It's very self-aware. It's kind of like a pre-Scream in that way, where it's not like commenting that much on slashers, but it does have a bit more of a self-aware tone to it than the other
yeah,
films.
and it's not the eye rolling self awareness like Jordan Peele. It's legitimately funny. And this has
Yeah.
one of my favorite editing jokes of all time, where like the gravekeeper's like, "What do they think I am, fart head?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great joke.
And then I'm guessing six is your number one.
Yep, it's my number 1. Most of what you said, I agree with. I love the comedy in this movie. I also love. There's that part. Maybe it goes a little bit too far, but the part where the gravedigger looks right at the camera and breaks the fourth wall. I think that's a pretty funny joke.
Some
Uh,
folks have a real strange idea of entertainment.
yeah, exactly. Um, I don't know. I think the horror comedy tone really fits this franchise, and I kind of wish the rest of the movies would have embraced it, like moving forward a bit more, just like, or at least kept that self-awareness, uh, instead of just like doing stupid shit like whatever Jason Goes to Hell was. But
Do you believe that this movie was a failure?
oh, it was really?
So the rumor has it, I'm looking up the box office, but this is the first one that they were disappointed in. And the rumor is that it didn't do as well because of part five.
Oh, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so this only
Because part
made
five's not
19
bad.
million on a 3 million budget.
Damn.
So like it was successful, but not to what Paramount had expected from the franchise.
I guess it was a little bit more of a cult thing where people realize, hey, this is one of the better movies in this franchise as time went on.
Well, and from what I've heard, and it's been a while since I've looked into this, but from what I have heard, a lot of it is people were distrustful after part five
Okay, yeah.
because people
That
wanted
makes
Jason,
sense.
and they did
I
everything
mean,
they could.
they got
Also,
Jason back. He came
this
back better
movie
than
has the
ever.
best poster in the franchise.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
this it's not going to show up very well. But this is beautiful.
Yeah, I love the dark lighting of the
I also
poster.
love
And
how they do everything in their power to make you aware Jason's in this. We promise.
yeah.
It's called Jason Lives, and it's in bigger font than the title of the franchise.
And yet it still failed.
It
That's
did.
it's pretty sad.
Yeah, great movie.
No, but yeah, great movie. My number one of the whole series.
Mine is Jason 7. I think Part
Yeah.
6 is a better film, but 7 has the best Jason, an amazing climax, and the characters don't bother me too much in this one. Um, Even if not a lot of them are memorable, but I think adding a supernatural foe that can go toe to toe with Jason was a cool idea that we've never seen before.
Yeah,
But
their fight
honestly,
is
I
really
could
good.
swap 6 and 7. Like I think they're both
Hmm.
evenly rated on my letterbox.
I mean, yeah, the third act, like I said before, is pretty entertaining. I like their fight at the end.
This is what they should do when they remake for this TV show. Is they should just do Jason versus Matt Gary.
Yeah, bring back Discount Carry.
Also, 7 has the most insane ending where she somehow just manages to summon her dad from the bottom of the lake to drag Jason back down there.
That's so weird.
Well, that is our ranking of Friday the 13th. However, pop, not a quiz, but just question for you. Now that you're more acquainted with the big three, how would you
Mhm.
rank the big three?
Oh no. Well, unfortunately, I think Jason would still be at the bottom of my ranking for the big three. As much as I respect this franchise and I do love some of the movies in this franchise, for me it's still Michael number one, then Freddy, followed by Jason.
Okay, so I'm going to ask
Just
a
as characters.
similar, even just as characters.
Yeah, I don't know about like franchise.
But let me
Uh
ask you this: that just as characters, why is Michael so far above Jason when basically they're very similar?
I think because Jason is not scary to me, but Michael is.
So none of them scare me.
Well, I didn't mean not like viscerally scary, but just like I like the themes of the Halloween, like the first one of the just
So
like
you like the
unstoppable
themes of
evil.
incest? That's
No,
what the Halloween movies are about at this point.
no, I'm talking about the original where it was just like a killer with nothing behind the eyes.
This is where the entire horror community probably crucifies me, but putting Jason at one, obviously,
Mhm.
Freddy at two, and then Michael.
We at least agree Freddy's great.
Freddy is good.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a ranking on those, but that means you have to watch the remake
Oh God. I mean, I'd love to
again.
do. I don't care about watching it again because I really like the Nightmare franchise.
Yeah, I
So
mean, other than the like back half.
yeah, I mean, three of them are really the only ones you need to watch, but still.
Yeah. Nightmare's great, except for two, except for four, except for five, except for
Yeah.
half of six. Six is almost a great movie. Not a good
Six
movie, but a
is.
great movie.
I think if you turn your brain off, you can have fun with six.
Well, but the thing with six, at least based on because when I showed it to you, I think the first half is a great movie. Not great as in like good, but like great as in this is fucking insane. And then the
Yeah,
second half is just boring. It like loses all that energy.
I was yeah, and I was legit falling asleep when we were watching that. So I need to watch it again probably so I can remember what actually happens in the second half.
You fucking fraud. All right. Well, any other things you want to add about Friday the 13th?
Not much. I mean, I guess we could talk a little bit about the future of the franchise with the news of A24 working on a series.
I cannot believe we live in a world where A24 has Friday the 13th.
A24 has Friday and Blumhouse had Halloween. That's crazy.
This is the best timeline. So let me ask you this: as someone who's newer to the franchise, what do you want from this TV show?
I kind of want something that's a little more in line with the tone of part six, where it's like schlocky, but also like a little bit self-aware and goofy about it. Not so self-aware where it's like winking at the camera, but like uh that just kind of I don't know, just kind of like a fun self-aware horror movie
Yeah,
or series. It's weird because what they're doing with it is
TV
it like
show.
a pre is it a prequel?
So it's weird because the way it was announced is like a prequel, but they've said that nothing is off the table, including
Okay.
Jason. So maybe
Oh.
it'll be like the first season is the first movie, and then we go from there. Who knows?
Oh. I wouldn't want the first movie as a whole season of television, much less a movie. I mean,
um,
maybe you could improve upon it. I have no idea.
it's it's tricky to remake it again because, at least in my opinion, um, we kind of had the perfect. I don't want to say the perfect movie because that movie has issue, but the perfect like outline to remake Friday the 13th with the 2009 film.
Yeah,
So it's like, what do you do?
yeah, you already did that. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say there's not a whole lot left you can do with the franchise outside of like a full-on reboot.
Well, but that's what I mean is because 2009 is a full on reboot. So it's like, do you reboot and do the first movie again and risk losing people because Jason's not in it? Do you
Or may
skip Pamela
yeah.
and just go to Jason?
Well, maybe what they could do, I don't it's probably not going to be in the series, but if they were to do more movies, they might do that Halloween 2018 thing of like a certain amount of movies did happen, but the rest are not canon. And maybe if they did that, it could be like they could bring Tommy Jarvis back. Maybe the part
So,
six Tommy Jarvis, not Corey Feldman.
okay, so here's what I propose. Part four, one through four happen. And then everyone thinks he's dead for a long time.
Mhm.
And then you do somehow bring him back, whether that be he's a zombie again or what. But you kind of soft reboot off of part four.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be the most natural way to soft reboot and still keep some stuff in continuity.
Yeah, and keep the some of the things that people like in continuity. I don't think
Uh,
anyone's going to be upset about a Jason Goes to Hell not being kind of canon.
What if season 1 is just a remake of Jason Goes to Hell, but for like 9
Don't make me think of that.
years?
Don't make me imagine that.
Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, but I also it's important I think to keep our expectations in check, especially because Brian Fuller is involved in this, and we know how temperamental he can be. Um,
Mhm.
so it's hard for me to create a wish list until I know more. But I think either you just full on reboot and just do part one as a TV show, but fix it up, make it more entertaining, fix the characters,
Make it
or
an
you
actual
soft
mystery.
yeah. Uh, well, but even that then with a mystery, because I feel like Mrs. Voorhees being the killer is that thing, you know. Oh, did you know that in the original Friday the 13th it wasn't Jason? Um,
Yeah, yeah, but maybe if you're a new viewer and you go in completely blind, it'll still work.
you know what? You know what you could do. Nah,
What?
nah, I don't like that idea.
Oh, okay.
Well, because I was thinking it was like you set up the murder mystery and you have somebody calling her. Okay, I like this idea better. You set up the
Okay.
murder mystery. There's somebody there named Pamela Voorhees. So the audience thinks that it's her because we've seen Friday the 13th. Then, because this franchise is not art, it's insanity, you reveal that she's not actually Pamela Voorhees. She's somebody using that name for whatever reason. The actual killer, and the whole time has been Jason. And like she's looking for Jason for whatever reason.
So you want to subvert people's expectations like Ryan Johnson.
But better than Ryan Johnson because it's not subverting just for subverting. It's we're remaking this and we don't want to give you the exact same thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
But I also think remakes are for people who haven't seen it yet and not people who are already fans. But
that's true. So maybe they will just do a straight on, murder mystery with Pamela.
I think out of all the avenues you could take it, that's the most interesting to me because I'm not a fan of that first movie, and I think you could improve it.
Because you're a total fraud.
I mean,
Call
we both
daddy.
had it. We both had it at the same spot.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna call it there. I definitely once we have more information with you. But yeah,
Sure.
hopefully the stars align and we can do Chucky season 1 next week.
Yeah, and then in the future we can rank another franchise because this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll do like the Child's Play franchise.
Yeah, that's short enough instead of like this
Yeah,
big massive thing.
it's getting there though when you think about it.
Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah, because we
you
would have to
got
count the
three,
series.
you got the first three, then you got Bride and Seed, so that's five, and then
Mhm.
Cult and Curse is seven. So with the TV show, they're up to eight,
Oh yeah.
and the remake is nine, but you haven't
Well,
seen the remake.
that's right. I'm also thinking I gotta catch up on the Scream movies because once the six comes out, we could do that one too.
God, I
Okay.
am not looking forward to Scream Six.
Yeah, it might not be good.
We'll see. But anyway, as always, it was a pleasure doing a video with you. We will be bringing back Shutter Shuffle in some form in the summer when the fraud here isn't in fraud school.
But I got more time.